I am Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
Yakuza 3
Mm-hmm.
is the game we're talking about, which is the third game out of 7
Yeah.
Yakuza games. And weirdly enough, is the last Yakuza game I have not played outside of like the couple weird side things in Japan only stuff. But of the
Mm.
main, nope, 8 Yakuza games. Because you count to 7 and then you gotta add 0.
Yeah.
8 Yakuza games, it is the last one I haven't played. I played all of them but this one. And it was hard to get on PS3. Remastered Collection came out, and I didn't want to pay $60 to get Yakuza 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it went up for free on PS Plus
Oh, this
Extra.
makes more sense. Yeah. I was like, how the hell did you even play
that's
Yakuza 3? Yeah, it's
that's
a weird one.
that's where it came from. So, I absolutely love the Yakuza franchise. I've again all of them in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
3 was kind of the weird one to find on PS3. It was hard to find on PS3. It's not
Mm-hmm.
digital anywhere, so it was kind of hard to get to. But it's the first one I played out of the remaster collection. I want to start with that. I've played 4 or 5 on PS3 like a year or two, probably 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This looks substantially better. Like this
Oh, interesting.
does not feel like a PS3 game. It feels very similar to playing Kiwami or even 0 or 6. It feels much more in
Oh,
line with the
really?
actual PS4 games, which I
Interesting.
thought
Maybe
was
that's.
interesting. So I don't know how much is under the hood, how much with that, because
Mm-hmm.
4 and 5, as you're playing them on PS3, like, oof, okay, these are PS3
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
That you can tell in the visuals, you can tell in kind of just the pace, just how everything's going with it.
Mm-hmm.
It very much almost felt like they did a lot more than just go, okay, and PS4 done.
Oh,
So
interesting. I didn't know that. Now I'm
I don't know
curious.
if they did. I kind of want to look, probably should have looked into that.
No, but 60 FPS is like a big thing for like pretty much
And
any
that's part of it
remaster.
too,
It can
yeah.
make it feel like a whole different game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can very much feel it. But I really liked Yakuza 3. I think this might be my favorite of the PS3 era games, 3, 4, and
It's
5.
super weird because this is considered the weaker, quote unquote, like the weaker one of those
And and
Yeah.
here's what I think is my issue with 4 and 5, which are probably my least favorite ones. So I mean that's not
Mhm.
really saying much. Is it's all Kiryu. There's no 4 and 5 do a lot of character jumping.
Oh, sure.
This is just Kiryu's story. It's a fairly straightforward story, which
Hmm.
I think worked really well in its favor. It's also, I think, might be one of the shorter ones. I think I beat it. I think I was like
Hmm.
14, 15 hours, and it was just kind of one of those, I don't have anything else to play. I'll just jump into this. So I wasn't trying to go into all the side stories and all, sub stories and all that kind of stuff. It was very
Yeah.
much a straightforward playthrough, but it was quick. It was breezy. The story was very simple. And it was just kind of like, okay, let's just get through this. And Kiryu does a lot of good Kiryu stuff. A lot of it is like Kiryu as the example for the Yakuza the whole way through and all this kind of stuff. And
The
all
eternal
these people,
problem with this games. These games.
all these people doing the bad Yakuza, but Kiryu's like just standing up going, no, I'm going to do the good
It's
Yakuza.
Yakuza's, yeah.
which is the dilemma that, yeah, you're mhm.
The whole series balances on this idea that there is such thing as a good Yakuza. It's
Yep,
like,
mhm.
it's all right, yeah.
Yep. But basically, so the story is from the end of 2, Kiryu is again, as with almost all of these, is out of the Yakuza. He's
Yeah.
done. And instead, he is now running the Morning Glory Orphanage.
Hmm.
And right away, all of a sudden, stuff starts going down. It's on the beach in Okinawa. Like, it's this beautiful, pristine thing. You're looking out over the ocean. Like, why the hell is an orphanage here? And basically what happens is the Tojo clan and a whole bunch of other people are trying to finagle a deal for this land, and it turns out the Tojo clan still owns your land. You got the so you are running an
Yeah.
orphanage on the Tojo clan's land, and
So funny.
basically Daigo Dojima is basically going like, no, I promised it to him. We're not going to touch it. I don't care if this will cost the Tojo millions and billions of dollars.
So funny.
It's his orphanage. It's his land. We're going to let him be. We owe him that. And everybody
Yeah.
else is like, no, fuck that. Billions of dollars.
That's so funny.
And that's kind of the basic premise. And then it gets, of course, as you go through. Once you get 70% of the way through, is the like, oh my god, all this other stuff's going on.
Yeah. Are you telling me there's a twist in the Yakuza plot?
Oh, there is. But with it, again, it's very simple stuff, and it ends up just being like one of the things, it ends up being very simple as you go throughout. Like that is the crux of the game the whole way. There's some twists and turns as to like who's interested in it and why. But what this one is kind of hooked me in is there's this mystery of right away somebody comes up and shoots Daigo. who's the head of the Tojo
Mhm.
clan at this point in the game. I guess I'm getting there's lots of backstory here.
Yeah.
But Daigo basically succeeds Kiryu as the chairman of the Tojo
Mhm.
clan, and he gets shot.
Yeah.
And basically, the whole game is trying to like figure out who shot him and why, and what this has to do with this land, and who's
Oh,
like
that's kind of cool.
maybe this insider in the Tojo clan who's trying to like take over Tojo. So they're trying to get him out of the way. He's already
Mhm.
on thin ice because he's defending this orphanage land, and it kind of becomes this mystery. There's some other weird parts that I won't get into as to who's doing it and who you
Mhm.
think's doing it and how that's connected. But um, yeah, it's just again, it's a really simple, straightforward story
Mhm.
that's all told through Kiryu's perspective. That just it puts him in places where logically he would fill in because he's so
Sure.
close with Daigo. That's an easy pull back in. They own his land. He's really just doing this because, like, look, I have like 8 kids that I'm taking care of here. Like,
Yeah.
I need this land. What are you gonna do? Just make me and these 8 kids homeless? Like, he has a good motivation for jumping back in, which I also feel like is fairly lacking in 4, 5, and 6. It's a lot of like
Sure. I'm trying to remember
things
what
are
four
bad
is
in
like.
the Yakuza. Like, come save
Yeah.
us. And he's like, I'm not in it anymore. But
But
sure.
sure. Yeah.
And this
Yeah,
doesn't
especially four.
quite yes, and this doesn't quite get to that level so much. So, um,
Does it
I
feel
enjoy.
weird though? Because the thing I was interested about this one is that it's the first of the PS3 games, so it's probably like so in like the first of the PS3 games is this one, the last one is Yakuza 0. Do you feel that kind of like I guess with plot and gameplay and everything else, does it feel like stepping back words through those or no?
So plot wise, yes, but I think because I mean I think the order I went in was I think I went 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, like something like that.
Yeah,
Like, and I just straight skipped this one. You kind of already have an idea because 1 and 2, even though they're remade in Kiwami, they still have that very simple story. So it didn't really necessarily feel like a step back in story. I will say the gameplay though very much feels early PS3.
sure, okay,
There
yeah,
is, I mean, by the time you get to 6 and 0, 7 obviously is a whole nother thing like a dragon.
hmm
But as the time you get to those and even Judgment and Lost Judgment, you have so many fighting styles and different like level up abilities and so much choice and freedom in how you're going to approach
hmm
things. And this is back to the fairly straightforward like 4-button combo, and that
sure,
like one 4-button combo is 90% of what you
yeah,
do
yeah,
plus your heat actions. So you can feel the age in the gameplay, but I think the story holds up a little bit better. And I think
yeah.
again, going in order 1, 2, this one feels very in line with those. 4 and 5, I think again it feels better than because I'm not a fan of the 4 separate characters, 2 of whom are
hmm
important at any given. That's not my thing. So it feels very in line with the other ones where it is focused on Kiryu.
hmm No, that's cool. Yeah, I was actually thinking back to this. And you kept saying like they think they did work on three. I do remember. I know why they did work on three. So the fun thing about the Yakuza series, it uses a lot of real life actors. And every once in a while, some of those real life actors gets involved in drugs in real life. And Japan has a very strict
Oh, is
policy.
this one?
Yeah, it was this one
I
in
didn't realize it was
four.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
3 and 4, they both had characters in them where they had to replace the actors, and I think it's actually as a result, it's a new translation as well. So
Yep.
that you're not going crazy. Like there definitely was some change. That I remember that was a big one. Like was the actor swapping.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I know 6 also is probably going to run that issue when they remake that one as well. So
Oh, I'm sure.
we'll see
Yeah.
though.
See,
Yeah,
yeah. There's so much weird stuff if you get into actors with this, and Judgment being basically probably done because of different things with actors, but
for
still,
sure.
like, yeah. But again, I think the one thing with Yakuza is going back to this, just kind of with the
Mhm.
story. There's so weird how little these stories matter in any other game. Like you can
Oh
very
sure,
easily pick
yeah.
up any Yakuza game, and it's like again, I've played this whole series, and there are major events in this that happen that I like literally have like, how the hell did this not have an impact anywhere else? Like some of the things that happen at and around the orphanage and with characters involved with the orphanage are just like that's a major deal. Like, how come like this wasn't some like thing that was brought up years later? This traumatic
Mhm.
thing for, and then you're just like, no, we're good. It happened. Move on. It's 4 now. So you can kind of jump into these anywhere, which I would not suggest at this point in time that you jump in at 3.
Yeah.
But it's so weird going back and playing them and being like, okay, I know this story. I know what's gonna happen. Like this is gonna happen, and this is I know these 2 or 3 plot points from this, but the middle stuff is just like no, this is important. Like I don't want to get in spoilers, but there's
Yeah.
things that happen that's like this should have had a huge scarring effect on
At least a few people.
for at least
It
a
is,
few of
yeah.
these recurring characters.
It is funny. It does feel like at the end of Yakuza games, like there's some like background world changes that happen, like big
Yes.
political shifts, and then that's like basically the only thing that carries forward. I remember from 4 to 0, that was the only one I remember that actually 0 had more callbacks to 4 than I think any of the previous games I had seen.
Hmm.
Because in 4 they do a lot of flashbacks
Yeah.
to like this time back in the old days, and the next
Yep.
game after 4 was 0, I think. So that's why there's a lot of flashbacks to 4, weirdly enough, and a lot of references to 4 and 5, I think, are in Yakuza 0. It is interesting how those games. So do you finally, after like playing all of them, do you have the list in your head of like number one Yakuza game, or maybe just the better ways, like where to start, and then which one's your favorite?
I mean, I think you start at 0. 0, I think, is probably the best
Okay.
one. I think
Hmm.
Like a Dragon probably would give it a run for its money in my mind, but
Hmm.
that's such a step outside of the series that I think at this point in
Sure.
time, that's not where I would tell you to start. Because I think if you
Hmm.
start at Like a Dragon, like, oh, I dig this, this is amazing, jumping back into 0 through 6, you're gonna be like, this isn't what I signed up for. Like,
Sure.
you still
Sure.
have
Sure.
like
Sure.
7 takes the goofy to an extreme just because of the RPG JRPG ness of it.
Hmm.
And so I think if you want to go through the whole series, I think 0 is the place to start. And
Hmm.
even 7, like, again, no spoilers for any of this stuff, but 7 has a lot of callbacks to 0 through 6, even though you're a different protagonist, even though you're in a different city. There's lots
Hmm.
of stuff from 0 through 6 that still comes up in there. But zero is for sure the way to start, and 0 and 7 I think are arguably the best two.
Hmm. And then just 0, and just like go through the series 0, 1, 2, 3, or are you like, are there ones you can skip, or what are you thinking?
I mean, again, you could skip all of these. I think
You could just not play the games.
no, I mean, you could, what I'm saying is like, and I think I told you this at one point because I don't think you've played near like most of them. I don't think you've played. And I think I was like, no, you can play like 1 and then jump to 6, and you'll
I
have the idea.
I
Like,
played 6 in preparation of 7, had no bearing on that plot at all.
yeah, you can get the whole thing. Like, you can
Yeah.
jump in anywhere. I mean, I am not a fan in general. I would say the PS3 ones, 3, 4, and 5 are for sure the weakest.
Hmm.
Um, 3 is my favorite of those, but I mean, even 3, like there's some down moments. There's a lot of like just running an orphanage business where it's like, this
Sure.
kid picked on me at school, I'm gonna go talk to his dad, and like that is like a half hour like main part of this game. So, and
Oh
there's like
geez,
3 or
yeah.
4 of those sections. So there's a couple of those where it's like, okay, one of these just to get the feeling of like running an orphanage, great, but like there's 2 full chapters in this game that are basically just orphanage business,
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
and that drags a little bit. But I would for sure say I think 0, 1, 6, and 7 are like the 4.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Like,
Yeah.
I think 2 didn't hit me as hard as the other ones, and the PS3 ones I think are all fairly
Mhm.
skippable. I mean, 4 and 5 add in some characters that I think come up later that are fairly important, and a couple of them that are very interesting. But again, um, they all can very easily be played independently.
Any interest in
And
doing
Judgment,
PS? Yes. Oh,
Judgment.
geez. Yeah.
Also play Judgment. Judgment is really good. Judgment and Lost Judgment I like better than Lost Judgment, but those are both for sure up
Mhm.
there with some of the better ones in the mainline Yakuza series.
Do you have interest in playing like the PSP ones or anything like that, and like getting fan translations and doing all that stuff, or no?
No, that's work. as
That's
soon as
fair.
soon as as soon as it's like, here it is on my PS5, like, yep, I'm in. But
Yeah.
I'm not. I
Yeah.
can't. No, I don't have the patience to deal with that kind of junk. Nope, nope, nope.
But are you kind of like going to be a diehard for the series for the rest of your life? Because they just announced like 3 more games. Are you like all in? I'm like,
Oh,
yes,
I'm all in.
amazing.
Like Ishin in February, like day one, no question. 8, no question, or yeah, 8, yeah, no question. Like
Mhm.
it's like Final Fantasy in my mind. Like every new one I'm getting. Like these games are great. I mean, I played through the entire 8 games plus 2 judgments in 5
Mhm.
years. So it's like
Yeah, it's
I'm
still not burned out by them. You're
still
still
not
like these
burned
are.
out. Like, I mean, there was I think there was one summer where I literally went 4, 5, 6 in like a month and a half. I was just like, no, I
Jeez.
gotta keep going, I keep going. So I love the
Yeah.
series. It's great. 3 again, not the best of this era. If you have that remaster collection, for sure, probably the best of those 3 in my mind.
Mhm.
But it's not where I would start. They're all on PS Plus Extra right now. I think even Like a Dragon, I think just dropped on there this month or is coming on there.
Mhm.
So if you have PS Plus Extra, they were on Game Pass. I don't know if they still are, but It's such a unique series that it's weird to talk about not my favorite one in this way, but going like this is a series you need to jump into and just give a
Mm-hmm.
try. If you jump
Mm-hmm.
into Zero, play it for 2 hours, I think it could get you hooked real quick.
Yeah.
But we are Workforce Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming, subscribe to us wherever you're listening, and we will see you later.
Bye.